Welcome back to Day Planner. It's another busy week for the West Coast as a stormy pattern there continues.
Yeah, today the Northwest in particular seeing mostly snow. A little bit of rain maybe thrown in here and there is the best way to put it. Here's a live look at Portland. And yeah, there's some raindrops on the lens. Temperature 36 degrees. At the airport officially, it's rain and snow mixed together. So a messy day, but at least the temperatures for the time being above freezing. They will be dropping, though, as we head through time.
We've seen a rain and snow mix around the Seattle area. Our own Chris Warren's live in Seattle today. But I tell you what, conditions are really variable depending on which way you look. Even a little sunshine out there, Chris.
You know, Nick, it would be hard to believe if you didn't know it, that right now where I am standing, there is a winter storm warning currently in effect. Now, we take a look here, and you can see the city of Seattle, the sunshine, and a lot of blue sky. Sometimes in June, you don't see this much blue sky. I mean, we're looking at a beautiful day right now, but this is one point in time. The winter storm warning for the Seattle area goes until tomorrow morning. So it lasts until 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. And so the day is definitely not over. We watched a little bit earlier as a shower went by just to the south. It was bringing down some pretty heavy snow. In surrounding areas, the radar does show the surrounding areas. We do have some snow falling right now. Places like Whidbey Island, Oak Harbor, 9 inches of snow reported earlier. So if you get some of these bands that set up, you can end up with a lot of snow in a very short amount of time. So we're just getting going here. We have an area of low pressure that's moving off from Vancouver Island. As it does, it's going to do a couple things. As it drops down to the south, it's going to help bring around some more of this moisture. So the circulation around that from this direction where the sunshine is, that low is going to help bring up some of that moisture from the Pacific. The other thing that low is going to do as it drops down the coast, it's going to help draw some very cold air from Canada. Now, you have the Cascades and the Rockies that typically block all of the very Arctic air. However, some of these valleys, you can get some very strong winds ushering in some very cold air. So the threat for snow is very real. City crews are out there doing their work. But once the snow starts falling, you also need to do your part.
One thing we ask people is to be aware of their responsibility during a snowstorm. City of Seattle requires people to take care of their own sidewalk. And so as you're getting ready for this snowstorm, make sure you have a shovel, make sure you have your own supply of salt, because keeping that pathway clear will make sure your neighbors can get around safely.
And you know what, Nick, it's hard to think about grabbing your snow shovel when maybe you're running out to the store and you're looking for your sunglasses because of all the sunshine right now. But again, the day is still early and we are expecting snow.
And I like what you said. It's 1 point in time, and you're 1 point in space as well. There's plenty of snow on the way. Thanks so much. Appreciate that, Chris Warren. 2 to 4 inches is what we can anticipate around the Seattle area. You're under a winter storm warning, as is most of the state of Washington. Across the panhandle of Idaho into western Montana as well. You can see that snow that's going to be piling up. We could see 2 feet up in the Cascades of Washington and Oregon, and look toward the south where we have winter weather advisories and winter storm watches for the Sierra Nevada over toward Nevada, as that cooler air that Chris was talking about expected to spill southward on into Thursday night and Friday. We'll see some snow in some of those mountain areas as well. Meantime, it is continuing to snow here in some of the Cascade foothill areas up toward north of Seattle. There at Whidbey Island, 9 inches already, as we mentioned. Back toward the north coast, seeing some snow that's coming down fairly heavily, and the coastal regions here of Oregon getting some of that snowfall too. Portland, you're going to be picking up anywhere between 4 to 6 inches of snow, and this cooler pattern will prevail all the way southward for the next several days. This is probably the coolest air mass you've seen in about 10 years, if everything verifies like we think it will. As this area of low pressure moves southward, might even see a little snow mixed in with that rain around San Francisco come Friday. Jeff?
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about a system that's coming out ahead of the big one that Chris is dealing with in the Pacific Northwest, and that's the one that may bring snow to San Francisco. But we've got another system, and believe it or not, that's the energy from it right there, which will eventually kick out here across Texas and then move across Oklahoma and points farther toward the east. Now, what will happen is We'll get some moisture on these green arrows here being fed up into the system. A little bit farther to the north, we'll have some cold air that'll be drawing down from the north. And in between, that's the zone where we could have some big problems here. Going to put the caution flag out there, caution sign, anywhere from, well, parts of Arkansas and Louisiana and around Memphis, where we could have some severe weather, and then farther along up the Ohio Valley, where we could be talking about perhaps some flooding issues with 3 to maybe 4 or even 5 inches of rain. So this is where things all come together. The cold air, the warm air, and the severe weather threat, particularly here from Memphis back to Dallas during the day tomorrow. Nick?
Coming up, a full report from New Zealand for the very latest on the deadly earthquake there.
That moment of connection and relief was just palpable. She obviously needs to go for some immediate medical attention because she's been in there for 24 hours.
One miraculous rescue on one of Christchurch's darkest days. Amazing stories of survival emerge. And how will the weather impact this evening's commute? We'll tell you coming up.
We don't just make a taillight, we make a sculpture. We don't just make a sunroof, we make the heavens wide. We don't just make a crossover, we make a statement. The Cadillac SRX. We don't just make luxury cars, we make Cadillacs.
Truth is, most motorcycle insurance costs about the same. What's not the same is the coverage. Now you can get the Allstate protection you need for a price you can afford. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects the rider better than Allstate.
Drivers demand the most from their tires. They choose Goodyear. And everything we've learned making these tires inspires what we roll into yours. Goodyear, more driven.
Man. It's been a crazy winter, and it's just getting crazier.
The Weather Team.
We have breaking news for you this morning.
We are getting remarkable images and stories.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 11 Eastern. Your daily forecast, news headlines, and the top story.
Literally the worst conditions I think I've ever been in.
Ready when you are, no matter the weather.
9 states under blizzard warnings. 9 states.
Wake up with Al and your weather today. Weekday mornings from 6 to 11 Eastern on the Weather Channel.
Through the storm and beyond. The Weather Channel, the Winter Weather Authority. Now your local on the 8s.
Rescuers in New Zealand are still searching through the rubble today as they look for some 300 people believed still missing after the earthquake in Christchurch, New Zealand. NBC's Sarah James has more from Lyttelton, New Zealand, about 10 miles outside Christchurch.
I'm here in Lyttelton, the tiny coastal village that was the epicenter of this massive 6.3 earthquake. The signs of the devastation right behind me. Nevertheless, as difficult as things are here, they are far worse in nearby Christchurch. The rescue effort there is underway, and indeed there was some hope today as some survivors were pulled from the rubble, and that really gave rescue workers the boost that they needed. Because the numbers are tough. 75 people confirmed dead. Another 300 people are missing. And so it is a harrowing time in Christchurch. Meantime, aftershocks continue to roll, some of them 4.5, 5.0. This makes things incredibly difficult for the rescue workers, and it also means that some buildings which are already cracked are in danger of collapse. The police commissioner warned today about a 26-story hotel which is in danger of falling down, sitting at a steep incline and sinking into its very foundations. The most important questions now are keeping people safe, keeping them out of the central business district, which is really like a ghost town, and also providing important materials. Obviously, people need water. 80% of the city is still without water. There are gas main ruptures. There are fires in certain areas. Roads are buckled. Traffic is very difficult to get around the city. So these are all the things that rescue workers and other personnel are paying attention to. And there's a scene that you don't see in a place like New Zealand, this quaint, beautiful island, and that's a military presence and a police presence everywhere there to make sure that people are safe and to keep people from the very dangerous areas. It is going to be some tough days ahead, but the people of Christchurch are resilient. Back to you.
Just horrific. We'll continue to follow this story, obviously. While here at home, we are looking at sunshine over San Francisco. What a great looking day with 51 degrees, traffic moving across the Golden Gate in great order. But I tell you what, the rain is going to be increasing on Thursday, turning colder, snow even possible Friday evening. You know, the last time they had a snow downtown San Francisco was back in 1976. A rarity, but we very well could see it. We're certainly going to see snow on the hilltops around San Francisco into Friday. Great conditions there, up and down Interstate 5 from Sacramento. Northward, though, we get into a problem here around Portland. It's rain right now. Will turn to snow later. This evening, we'll see that snow continue to pile up. 4 to 6 inches we could see over the next, say, 36 hours or so. Seattle will see some snowfall. Probably 2 to 4 inches there. Already we've seen as much as 9 inches toward the north and west of Seattle. And the Cascades, wow, it is tough getting across Snoqualmie Pass. As a matter of fact, chains are required here across Interstate 90, Snoqualmie.